ساحب جمال هم كريف عبد الله أرلشلات.
Hi everyone and welcome back to the Diversity Podcast. I'm really excited to introduce my today's guest to you guys as she's Kalmyk as well. It is Maria Ochir, who is Kalmyk Archaeologist and historian, and recently she has become an activist as well. Maria was born in Kalmykia in 1959 and moved to Germany in 1999 through a PhD scholarship program. She currently lives in Germany, and her research is mainly dedicated to archaeology of the nomadic people of the early Iron Age, the Scythians and Sarmatians of the steppe zone of Eurasia. So in today's episode, we will talk about Kalmykia and Maria's upbringing, as she was born straight after Kalmyk people returned back from Siberia to Kalmykia from the Siberian Exile in 1943, where they spent 13 years. And only in 1956, the order to rehabilitate Kalmyk people was established. And in 1958, the law ordering to restore the republic itself was published. So in today's episode, we'll discuss what was happening with Kalmyk people after they returned back to their homeland from Siberia. And we will also talk about Maria's upbringing and identity. It's my great pleasure to have you today, Maria, on my podcast. Haluminde.
Haluminde.
Mende. I don't even know what to say also after that. What Kalmyk people say after Haluminde? Do they say like Berla?
Mende.
Just Mende. Okay, great. So Mende means hi in Kalmyk, just to translate. So even though in today's conversation we would be talking about Kalmykia, I still would like to learn more about you. And to start with, let's break down shortly for our listeners who are Kalmyks and where they live and where they came from. So who we are as an ethnicity.
Kalmyks is the name of our people in Russia. Russians adopted this name from Turkic language. In Turkic language, this word has a negative meaning. Meaning is backward or limited.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. This is not so good word. Our real ethnic name is Oirats Mongols, because of Mongols are divided into half Mongols or Eastern Mongols and Oirats Mongols, Western Mongols. So we are Oirats Mongols. Of course, within this large division into Western and Eastern, there are divisions into sub-ethnicals, ethnos, and into tribes, into clans and tens. If the sub-ethnoses and tribes and clans have a very long history, they originated from prehistoric times, maybe. But division into tens was introduced in the time of Chingis Khan. For example, Oirats, our people are divided into sub-ethnoses: Turgaut, Derbet, Hoshut, Choros, and so on. Yeah.
Okay, I can ask a question. I thought that Kalmyk means separated, but you said limited. Does it also mean separated?
This problem is that when Oirats Mongols came on the contact with Russians, Russians had no special name for these people, and they take this name Kalmyk from Turkic diplomatic speech. On Turkic people like Kazakhs and Kyrgyz give this name to Oirats with negative meaning that we are not Muslims because we have Buddhist religion, and we are not the Turkic language. We have Mongol language.
So that's why it means separated. I thought separated from Mongolia, but just separated from Turkic nation because not Turkic, yeah?
Usually this is, maybe I cannot express really right in English, but this is meaning mit meaning backward. They are stay on the side or maybe on the back side, you know.
Okay.
Because-
yeah. It's like a little bit late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
So
Interesting. I
limited.
always
Because of Kalmyk
Okay.
is not so good word, really.
And I proudly say to everyone that I'm Kalmyk, not even understanding that it is has negative connotation. Okay, great. I have one more question about Oirats. I think I was reading, and also I talked to you prior. You mentioned that Kalmyk. Well, Kalmyk. Let's talk Oirat since we're talking proper language now.
Yes.
You said that Oirats used to be the nomads of the forest, and then they moved to the steppes. Last time we talked. Can you please explain it? When exactly our ancestors lived in forest? Because I didn't really know about that, and I don't know about that a lot. And what was the reason for them to become steppe nomads?
Before Middle Age, the Oirats lived in the forest zone of present-day southern Siberia, in the region maybe on the north, on the west side of the Lake Baikal, not so far, southern Siberia. Really, only in Middle Age they started to go to the steppe because of they have in the forest zone they were hunters and fishermen, but in the steppe they became cattle breeder. They get the horses and livestock, and so this life had more advantages than the hunting and fishing, and but it was process. It was not so quickly. When Chingis Khan was preparing a campaign to the north to conquer the forest peoples, because of it was a lot of peoples in Siberia, not only Oirats, and leader of Oirat, his title was Beki. Beki is like a Khan, and maybe more prestige. Beki. And his name was Khudukha-Beki. He was very clever, and he expressed desire to join to Khaganate of Chingis Khan. And Khudukha-Beki's voluntary entry was very high appreciated by Chingis Khan.
I thought that Oirats were already part of Chingis Khan Empire, no?
After this goodwill to enter, to join, yeah.
to join.
Yes.
Okay, so they voluntarily, Oirats, like our branch, our ancestors, they voluntarily joined Chingis Khan Empire in, when he was alive, right? In 13th century?
At that time, it was the lifetime of Chingis Khan. And of course, it was very clever because of after this Khudukha-Beki got the right to gather all taxes from all forest peoples and bring to Chingis Khan.
That's strategic.
Yes.
That's good move.
Yes.
Strategic move.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. So my next question then coming from what happened next. So that was around 13th century, let's say, Chingis Khan was alive. And then what were the main reason then for Kalmyk people, for Oirats, who are Western Mongols, what were the main reasons for Oirats to move so far to nowadays Russia? As it's known, we are the only Buddhist Asian people even in the European part of Russia. And why did it happen?
But not so quickly. The history with Chingis Khan is so. As I told already, Khudukha-Beki's voluntary entry was highly appreciated by Chingis Khan. This is act of goodwill allowed to Oirats Mongols to to be related with the House of Chingis Khan. There were a lot of dynastical marriages between Chingis Khan's sons or his nephews with the daughters and also sons from Khudukha-Beki. It was very, very important because of thanks to these representatives of Oirat clans, aristocracy, nobility, Oirat nobility, occupied not only privileged position in the Chingis Khan's empire, but also very high government posts. Because of this marriage process was very long, we could say that it was some dynasty which was
they created their own dynasty.
Yeah, blood relativeness with Chingis Khan family. It was very important.
But it was already like the whole Chingis Khan empire, not separate Khaganates,
Because of the empire was very big, and in empire lived a lot of ethnicities. But Oirats were connected with Chingis Khan family with blood, It was, they were really relatives.
Okay, I understand.
They're
very smart people,
Yeah. And they allowed to have a high government posts.
Okay. So basically they became a part of Chingis Khan empire, like even blood related. And they stayed, right? They stayed like this up until 17th century or like forever, always.
Not 17th century. It was the new stage of history began after the fall of Mongol Yan dynasty in 1368. Do you know this Mongol dynasty was in the Beijing in China? Because of Chinggis Khan started the conquest of China, and it was very, very long process, long war. Better to say not only one, many wars. And after this, Mongols have ruled position in China. They played a very big role in history of China because before Chinggis Khan, before Mongols, China was a lot of small cities, small countries, separate countries, and Mongols joined all these small countries together and divided on the provinces, historical, geographical provinces. And this division works till now. They changed, maybe divided in more small or like this, but nevertheless, this is basic was made in Mongol time. And this dynasty on the China language was Yan dynasty named. And after the fall of the Mongol dynasty, after the big war, the Mongol nobility were forced to leave the city of Beijing and return to their native steppes. And new stage was that at that time, after this, Eastern and Western Mongols fought with each other for supreme power in the steppes already.
Okay.
And at the same time, the Oirat Mongols were fighting to restore the Mongol power in Beijing. It was a very, very big battles. This process led that Oirat Mongols became very, very big political power in this region. And in 17th century, they were so big population, and Oirats in 17th century organized 3 Khaganate. First one was the Koknur Khaganate. The leaders of this Khaganate was sub-ethnos Hoshut organized the Koknur Khaganate. It was nearby the Tibet, this Khaganate stood for security of Dalai Lama also. And the second Khaganate was very big. It is Jungar Khaganate. This Jungar Khaganate conquered huge territories in Central Asia, from West Mongol to Samarkand, Bukhara, so very fertile values with big cities, with trade routes and big markets. So, and from this and leading nobility in this Khaganate, Jungar, was the Choras sub-ethnos. And we told always Choras house because of this.
What was the third Khaganate?
This is leading. And from this Jungar Khaganate was separated third Khaganate, and it was led by House Torgout. And this Khaganate moved in the west direction and reached the river Eedj or Volga. In Russian is Volga, in our language, in Turkic, in Mongol language is Eedj, Eedj, and a little bit different, but the same Eedj. We say Eedj, yeah. Get the Eedj river and
so we are basically, we came from Torgut Khaganate.
Yes. This in our language we named Torgut Khaganate because of leading house was Torgut, sub-ethnos.
But we also
but Russia, yeah, we are from Jungar Khaganate, separated. The Kalmyk Khaganate, Russia named our Khaganate Kalmyk Khaganate, but in our language, this Khaganate we named Torgut Khaganate. And Torgut Khaganate, during his whole history, has had a very, very close connection with the Jungar Khaganate, with historical native land, cultural relatives, and and with Dalai Lama also. Because at that time, beginning of 17th century, the Oirats and all Mongols accepted the Buddhist religion. Really, all population became Buddhist. Yeah. Before was a few attempts to accept the Buddhism, but always it was limited by nobility. Only nobility became Buddhist, and population not. And beginning 17th century, it was we had very famous monk, Zai Pandita, and was not only monk, he was very big political leader, and he has reached this goal to bring the religion, Buddhist religion, to the whole population. So in the Kalmyk Khaganate was Buddhist religion dominated.
Okay, so it would be fair to say that thanks to Zaya Pandita, Kalmyk people became Buddhist.
Yeah. Really, beginning 17th century, really.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we will do another episode. We will talk about Zaya Pandita, language and religion, because it's a big topic, right?
Yes.
Zaya Pandita. And I need to learn more about that myself. Okay, let's come back to you then. And I think we can talk for hours about history of Kalmyk people, because there is a lot of, there is a lot of things which were happening and where we came from and etc. etc. I think it deserves to have a separate episode on the history of Kalmyk people. What about your own background? Like, as you said earlier, Kalmyk people have division. They are Torhut, Torvut, Hoshut, and many others. what is your, let's say,
Sub-ethnos?
tribe name? Yeah, sub-ethnos, and where you were born and raised within Kalmykia. Were you born in the region or in town, in city, and which subdivision is you belong to?
For beginning, I'd like to say that the total territory of the Kalmyk Republic is 79,000 square kilometer. It is almost the same as Austria. Yeah,
okay.
it is very big land.
Yeah, for Europe it's big land.
For
right?
Europe,
For
it's
Europe.
a very big land, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And especially if think that the populations of Republic all times was nearby 2,000 people, 200,000 people, not so many.
Not so much.
Yeah, not so much. A big land with small population. Density of population always was nearby 2 people on the square kilometer.
like in Mongolia,
because
it's not very populated.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess I was lucky person because of I was born on 1959, and I was only one in my family which was born in my Heimat, in my native land. Sorry, I told German word.
Oh no, it's okay, don't worry.
In my native land, yes.
How is it in German? How do you say in German?
Heimat. Heimat. Heimat is his native land. So
Maria might say "und" and some German words because Maria lives in Germany, and obviously, like, she speaks German more than English, and actually she speaks Kalmyk even better, I think. But yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, today's episode is in English. So just explain her why you might hear some German speech. Sorry, go on. You were born in your homeland, which is Kalmykia.
Because of all my brothers and sisters, the older, I'm the youngest child in family, and my brothers and sisters were born in Siberian Exile. So I was born as a free man, free man in my land, and I was born in a village which named Малые Дербеты in Russian, but in Kalmyk language is Bach-Dervet, and that is the name of my sub-ethnosis, Dervet.
You Dervet.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was born in center of my personal identity. Really.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's nice. Малые Дербеты. You are, how many children in your family? You have 2 or 3 more brothers, you said, right?
Yeah, in our family was only 4 children, and at the time it was very small family, and my parents wished always next more children, but it doesn't function. I was the last child.
Okay. So to recap, you are the youngest, and 3 of your other siblings were born in Siberia, correct?
Yes.
And I'm just gonna make a little disclaimer because I didn't explain in the beginning. So I did make a little introduction, but still, Kalmyk people were exiled, deported to Siberia in 1943 by Stalin, due to German occupation of Kalmykia, which lasted nearly for 5 months. And Kalmyk people were proclaimed enemies of the nation. And for this reason, the whole population, which were mostly old women and men and children, were just put into animal trains in December night. Well, depending on the region, but I think a lot of them were deported in December. Whilst they were transported, a lot of people died. Like some members of my family died in Siberia, and few, I think, like throughout the journey to Siberia. Yeah, that's why Maria is saying that she is a free human and she was born in the homeland, because Kalmykia was basically destroyed, like legal entity, correct?
Yes.
In 1943, is that correct? Yeah. So
it
that's
was
why
abolished.
Saying,
the republic was abolished.
yes, a republic was abolished, and that's why Maria is saying that she's lucky. That's just a little recap. Yeah, we will talk about this more, hopefully. They came back in 1958. Is that correct?
Yes, my family arrived in end of the 1957 before this law, but nevertheless, I guess I was the first generation of the children which born as at home, in homeland as a friar people. So
right,
yes.
Yeah, true.
And nevertheless, my own family was not so big, but I grow in big family, can I say, because of a big patriarch family, because our family consisted from grandfather, grandmother, and two families, our and family of young brothers of my father. Also, so, and they have six children. So we are all.
Oh wow!
We are nine.
So
nine,
6 children was
9 children.
6 children was normal number to have.
Yeah. Also, no,
Okay.
My father's brother younger brother had 6 children. So we are so many children and. Big family. Yeah. We very often we eat together and we spell together because our houses built nearby, and we have the same yard and the same garden and the same vegetable garden. So it was place where we playing all day.
That's nice. It sounds like
I have never visited the children garden.
You have
not?
Did they have children gardens, kindergarten at all?
No, not at all. At that time,
because everything was abolished, right?
Yeah, it was. But we have grandfather and grandmother, and our mothers didn't work. They were at home, so it was not. It
wasn't like a problem.
Yeah, it was not problem. We stayed home. Yeah, when I was at school, I have known that other children were in kindergarten. So it was a little bit problem for me because of I didn't know all Russians tales, for example. I didn't know nothing from kindergarten. And we live at home and play with each other and my grandfather and grandmother and spoke only Kalmyk and we know only Kalmyk tales.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're gonna get back to the language in the later questions. So since you mentioned Siberia already, let's talk about 60s, which is your childhood and your upbringing, and how Kalmyk people were switching from traditional lifestyle to the sedentary lifestyle and to living in classic Soviet buildings and yurts. Just a little disclaimer, as I understand and as I read, the Kalmyk people were forced even before Siberian Exile in the 30s to move to proper homes in Russian, to yurts. So, but still some of them after Siberian Exile lived in yurts, or did they not?
No, after Siberian not.
Only before in 30s, yeah. So in 30s they switched fully. Mm-hmm. Okay, but still there was a change in clothing, right? In clothing and lifestyle. Could you please talk about it? How your grandparents and how your parents were switching to more traditional lifestyle because, fashion, everything, lifestyle was already different. And and people had to adopt to a new lifestyle. What exactly do you remember? And maybe whether your grandparents struggled with this cultural changing in their clothes and their traditional way of being.
Yeah, going through my memories of my early childhood, I realized that during my life I was witnessed from disappearing of our traditional culture. and our traditional way of life. When I was went to school, my grandmother still wore the traditional Kalmyk dress, berze, and they had a black hat from Karakul, and all Kalmyks at the time, the women and men, they wear also the boots from thin leather. And my grandmother and grandfather had also. And for example, when I look the photos of that time, I have noticed that all during funerals, all men had cop dress, hat. And this hat was where the very, very really so strong, because of according to Kalmyk tradition, during funeral is dangerous moment because of the death is so close at the hand.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah, and the Ha from the men is the energy of the clan, all clan. So this Ha from
Where is the head?
yeah, the Ha must be defend with hat, So on
Yeah, I didn't know that.
and in modern time, for example, during funeral, all men take off the hat. This is traditional Russian traditional, And this is vice versa, really vice versa. So contrast.
Different. It's very different. Why they take off the hat in Russian culture?
Yeah,
Do you
because
know?
of this traditional from Russian.
Just a tradition, yeah? Okay.
They have another imagine, maybe another idea about this. And so I can state that people, when the Kalmyks live in Siberia, they didn't try to repeat the Russian customs because of their foreigner, like a foreigner there, and they know this. Somewhere they came home, and when Kalmyks returned to home, to homeland, they tried to catch the lost time. They accepted everything what happened in Russian cities, and because of it was very cultural, it was very prestige,
Popular, yeah?
and popular, and so they our people slowly lost became more faceless,
Okay, less
Our traditional faceless, безликие такие.
less of our own culture, yeah?
Yeah, our originality, our specific, and became more because it was also politic of Russification.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It was more prestige to speak well Russian, and so the Kalmyk language was like is language from people from village and from kolkhoz, for example.
Okay, I have a new question then, because you said these things. Why the same thing didn't happen to Chechen people, to Republic of Chechnya or Dagestan? Why those people speak their language more and are more rooted into their cultures than we are?
I guess this is the specific of nomadic mentality. Because of nomads always stay open mind. So they have very easy to take new things, unknown things, and also our religion cultivated the personal growing to become more perfect, If you can speak a few words in Russian, you try, Kalmyk tried always to be better, to speak well, and so on. And the Chechens, for example, they are not nomads. The people with very close connection to the land, for example, and they live in many generations in the same village. And nomads always change the place.
Okay.
So, for example, in Kalmyk language, my Heimat, my homeland is not homeland. It is Nutug. And Nutug is das not land. This is only people. When I speak in Kalmykian, I am visited my homeland. Translation is I visited my people. You know. So because of
that's interesting.
Yes, Nutugtano da
I love
dirich.
that. Как сказать? How to say?
Nutugtano da dirich. When I write when I write my monograph. My first monograph was in Germany, but second monograph in Russian. And I write on this monograph to mini Inker Kalmyk Nutugtan. I devoted to my loving.
To my people.
In Russian, I devoted it to my loving homeland. But in Kalmyk, it is I devoted to my loving Kalmyk people. So
that's beautiful.
What why I think that the Chechens keep their language better than we are Kalmyks nomads.
So yeah, that's the reason, because nomad people culturally used to always absorb everything everywhere they go, whilst Chechen people, they stay more like reserved and connected to their land. Okay. Interesting. I didn't think about it actually. Well, I was reading about New Zealand people, Maori, and they have strong connection to native New Zealand people, Maori, and they have strong connection to land. And I was thinking why we are not the same, and then obviously we're nomad people. Okay, nice. Thank you for your opinion and for what you're saying. I want also to ask you about we mentioned the traditional. Do you think your grandparents, because you said that Kalmyk people tried to, well, I guess because we are nomads and our grandparents, my grandparents, nomads as well, and there was also a policy of Russification. Do you think still they struggle with it, or they embraced the change? Did they have any difficulties changing traditional Kalmyk berze to light dress or skirt or whatever, or they embraced it, they loved it? What do you think?
It was different. Some things were accepted very, very good. For example, my grandmother changed the clothes. After this Kalmyk traditional dress, they changed from normal textile, but the fashion was like a traditional, so styled. But it was very, very easy textile, not so dark, and not so. Our traditional is made from very dark and wool textile, heavy wool textile. So, and she liked it. Told always this dress is very easy, and it is not so hot, and it is also very nice because of it had a lot of flowers, for example, or some design.
Beautiful, easy.
Beautiful, easy. And she then changed the shoe also. Before all Kalmyks at summer, the winter, wear the boots always. It was hot, it was cold. Nevertheless, all people have boots. I think this was connected with riding, because of when you ride, it is very important that the inner side of the legs were protected from this leather. When you ride without boots, you have then problems because of your skin is damaged because of this permanent movement on the horse makes your skin on the legs, inner side of the legs, damaged. So what why was all people wear the boots? for riding.
Even women, right?
Even also,
women?
yes, of course, yeah. If you need to change the direction of the livestock or like this, or look for the cow or sheep, you cannot go walking. You
Of
need
course.
without horse. You have no chance in steppe. It's too big.
Did you used to ride horse when you were a child?
Yes, of course, yes, and
Yes?
camel
Like
also.
wildly?
Yeah, we have our own horse. Yes, and we could ride it.
In the steppes?
Yes, in the steppe also. Yeah.
Oh, did you go alone or with your parents?
Alone?
Did you ride horse alone?
Yes, of course.
Or
It is
with
not
parents?
possible together. Only alone.
No, I mean like
Yeah,
you are capable.
Yeah,
you were capable of riding the horse on your own.
But not so old, because of we live in the village, and our father lived in the steppe. And there we have our horse and our camel. And camel his name
You had your own camel?
Afrafena. Yeah, our camel was Afrafena.
Well, you had your own. Okay, interesting. You had your own camel.
Yes.
Was it common?
Yes.
Was it common in Kalmykia?
Yes, of course. Yeah, at the time. Yeah, I was student already. I studied in Petersburg University, and I remember that I'd like to visit my parents in 1st May. It is only 10 days holidays, and then must fly to Petersburg from Volgograd. And at that morning it was so rainy, and it was so dirty on the streets in our village. So my father takes the camel, and I sit on the camel, and I was bring from my Afrafena to the bus station. And then I sit in the bus, and to 1 hour. After 1 hour, I was in the plane, and it was only 1.5 hours. I was in St. Petersburg, and go direct to the university. And I'm sitting on my leg.
Camel, bus, airplane.
Yes. And then in Petersburg, and I laughed, and I told my friends about this. It was amazing. Yeah, I told. Could you imagine that for a few hours I was on the camel?
That's beautiful, though. I'm jealous. I've never been on a camel when I was a child. I've never even been on a horse, I think, because I grew up in town in Elista, in city, and I rarely went to regions, to suburbs, to rural area. I wish I had spent more time, to be fair, though. I only have few relatives who live in rural area, but I don't think we were very close with them. Yeah, I want to ride camel as well, Afrafena. That's beautiful, his story.
It is very nice feeling to ride the camel, because of when you sitting between this, it is very warm and very soft, and you sitting so high, and can you see everywhere in the steppe, and you started always automatically. I started to sing, the Kalmyk things.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I only rode a camel in Morocco, but it was touristic. It wasn't, it feels good. It's like, because of the space, it's spacious and you high, but it's like, it's very moving. Like it's not stable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on the sea.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Very beautiful memory. And okay, my next question then would be almost the same. My next question would be connected to this lifestyle. Maybe we partly already answered it. Do you think that this change, I'm asking not just the after Siberia era, not after Siberian time only, but generally from the beginning of 20th century up until like your childhood, your adulthood, do you think this change from nomadic lifestyle throughout 20th century to more modern lifestyle made Kalmyk people less connected to their own culture and traditions? And have they like realized this, like from your experience of living those, like being a child or being a teenager and adult that at that times? Have they realized that the big blast of the culture, big layer of the culture was lost? What do you think?
It is also different. For example, I forgot the first question that sometimes accepted Kalmyks very well with easy, but sometimes it was very difficult. For example,
To change.
Yeah, to change. For example, my grandfather didn't like to boots. Yeah, take off his boots when came in the house. You know, because of my mother clean everything, and then grandfather with boats and go, and it was not so nice. And my mother told him, and he was very very angry always. And then second problem was my grandfather has and it was not only problem only with our grandfather, in other old men also, yeah, our neighbors, for example, our relatives, they came on with boats and then sitting in the room, and then all Kalmyks has a very big smoking tubes, and always when I came to us, he started to smoke with this, and it was a big smoke, you know, in room, and it was also a problem for my mother and for us, you know, and
Okay,
it
because
was not
of the habit.
yeah, it was not
habit.
so nice, yeah. And when you now told it about other things, I guess that it was time when Kalmyks tried to be more modern, to be more with time together, to go with time. So, of course, a lot of cultural things were lost, but funerals and marriage, wedding party, it was always traditional because of these very important points of life, and people always ask the elder how must be to make this better, you know. This traditional stays still now, I guess. And I'm not so pessimistic. I think every time has own tendency on own fashion, and I guess I hope very hope that your generation, young people, you reverse this trend to the Kalmyk traditional culture, to our language again, but on the other level, you know, better level.
Yeah, that's good point. But how do you think we can do it? How do you think young people can do it? Because, you know, so many of us living outside of Kalmykia now, especially like during last 2 years, what's been happening. How do you think, like, because how I see it, you know, like I see that we all spread everywhere and there is no community feeling. It's me even doing this podcast, like I already feel connected to my own culture just from speaking to you a few times. You know, I met you, we talked, and it made me feel so warm inside. But I was asking this question myself, like maybe last few years when I was thinking about Kalmykia generally. I don't really understand how to do it yet. I mean, I know you should work on yourself and like spread the knowledge probably, but because we are so separated, so across the world, I don't understand. I almost feel like there is no unity, you know, there is no united Kalmyk people. Obviously there are people everywhere, but I'm only talking from my own experience because I know you are more involved into activism and maybe you know more Kalmyks than I do, but I feel like, you know, there is no community where I can come, I don't know, have Zoom call of 100 people and drink Kalmyk tea together or something like this, you know, like it doesn't exist, you know, like even me trying to gather now Vox Pop for Kalmyk people, it's difficult, like not everyone is open, you know, that's what I meant, but that's only my own experience. And I've been asking this question, how do you think we can do this to become maybe more united or to preserve or almost revive the culture, at least not talking about language?
What I notice now, what I saying now, I know that a lot of people, young people, Kalmyk people, missing traditional culture and language. They cannot
agree.
speak. They don't know a lot of things about our culture and history, but nevertheless they missing. They have nostalgia. Maybe because of now we have a good level of the life. We have everything. We have house. We have job. We have money. We can travel. But when we are traveling, we noticed also all other nations have their own culture, and people think, and what about me?
Your
Yes.
culture,
For
yeah.
example, today
True.
I'm a member of the group in the Telegram, and one young man write just 1 hour ago that why I cannot speak Kalmyk, but when I sitting in the car and listening the Kalmyk songs, I am crying, and I thought.
I feel the same.
I thought this is missing, this is nostalgia. And when
Yeah.
people have so strong feelings, in any case, somewhere it will happen something. Yeah, this is every day
Okay.
one drop, every day one drop.
One step at a time,
Towards
yeah.
to our to
One
self
step by step.
to self to personal and national identity. And there is
Yeah.
a lot
You
methods
know,
to join us to understand us. We live really a lot of people are separate from our republic, but there is internet like just now, and we can organize what is it, virtual nation. And
yeah,
one time in
definitely.
year we can visit our republic and make in the step a big holiday, a big fest. I
Yeah.
guess so.
Yeah, definitely. I think, what I would love to have, like, like, we come from different generations, right? What I would have loved to have, and which probably is missing for me, I don't think and feel that it was taken from me, like, I don't feel like, some people think that their culture, Kalmyk culture, obviously it's the narrative, right, that we were forced to change language, we were deported. It is almost a narrative that our culture was taken away from us. And this is how I see it when I read internet. But I don't feel like that. Like, I feel I have my own, like, identity and rooted into that. Like, like, I can proudly say that I'm Kalmyk, even though I don't speak the fluent language. But, like, I feel that I don't feel like, maybe because I'm a younger generation and my parents didn't go through Siberia, like my mom's parents, right? But I don't feel like a victim, even though I know my grandparents are victim. But what I want to say, I feel still that I want to have a community. Like, for example, I'm super grateful that I met you, because if I have questions about Kalmykia now, if you have time, you can answer to me, you can say something in Kalmyk or explain the tradition. And probably it is because okay, this podcast is very long. Probably it's because I'm far from my parents, and like my dad's gone 5 years ago, and I don't speak and see my mom very often. That is nostalgia, I think, for me, that I didn't live in a hometown since like 17. But I wanted to make it clear that I've never actually felt like a victim, but I know that my grandparents are. I've always felt proud. I think just in different periods of life, I felt different extent. Like now I'm speaking to you and I feel more connected, obviously. But when I don't talk to Kalmyk people a lot, or I speak in English all the time, I feel like and I need to come back and find some Kalmyk and talk to them or listen to Kalmyk music, things like that, and I think there is nostalgia there. But I agree with you, and I think I'm quite positive as well. Due to internet, at least people can learn so many things, and even if like 100 people will listen to this podcast, it's already something, like they would at least know that this is Oirat people, where they come from, and things like this. And obviously there's more to come. And I love your positive attitude. I resonate. I think so too. Okay, let's just do a few more questions and then we wrap up. And I think we have to do another episode because it's exciting. So just since you mentioned language slightly, I wanted to ask how it was in your childhood, because I didn't have a chance to ask my dad. I don't know how it was in his childhood, but I know he spoke in his household. I talked to my mom. She said that she spoke Russian, but it's because she was born in Astrakhan Oblast, which was at that time not part of Kalmykia, but back then it was part of Kalmykia. So what language did you speak from very young age? Like from when you start speaking, whatever, it's 1 year or 2 year, up until school, did you speak Kalmyk or Russian? If you spoke either of them, how did you learn Russian and Kalmyk language?
Yes, so in my childhood, until childhood of our children in our family was spoken Kalmyk, because of our grandmother, they didn't understand Russian. So we must speak Kalmyk. And I have learned Russian language really at the school. Better to say a few 2 months before school, because of children which must go to school to first class. We were at the summer, during the summer holidays, we were gathered in the school and learn a little bit Russian. And this 2 months crash course, it was enough to go to school and understand. Yeah, nevertheless, it was, we are only 8 children Kalmyk national in our class, because of our village was mostly Russian village. And yes,
really?
at that time it was very few Kalmyks in our village. But nevertheless, our family and our neighbors all were Kalmyks. We live separate from Russians. We have some part of the street was Kalmyk and other part was Russian. So we communicated only with Kalmyk families and never with Russian families. It was so coexisting together. Yes.
Interesting, but it is because of the language as well,
Not
right?
only language, we live as a life. Also, for example, we never know New Year. We have no New Year Russian because of at school was this event, but with tree, but not at home. You know, we have our
You didn't celebrate New Year. You didn't celebrate New Year.
Only when we
so you only celebrated
Tsagan, Zul, and Aoun. And all Russian holidays were not our. We never noticed it. So we have started to make these holidays only when we were students already. For example, I was in student, and I have understand that all people have birthday, and we never make event for our birthday, because of in Kalmyk tradition is so after Zul all people became together all 1 year older. Get New Year. Yes.
Really? You didn't celebrate your birthday since... When did... That's sad.
Because this is, according to our religion, it is not important that's your birthday, because you're only simple person, you know. And all nation has a birthday in the December, after the light Zul, light holiday. After the light all people became 1 year older. And so we never made this.
Let's just explain quickly to our listeners what is... so Kalmyk have 2 main big celebrations, at least which I know and remember and celebrated in my household. It's the Tsagan and Zul. Tsagan is a New Year in Kalmyk, and Zul is a light celebration, which Maria just mentioned.
Zul is always the same time with Hanukkah feast. Hanukkah. Yiddish.
Can you explain in a few sentences what is Zul?
Usually, I guess Guess that Zul is his old New Year. When Oirats lived in the forest zone, then they have this day. It was a day of starting New Year Day. But after, when Oirats were the empire of Chingis Khan, it was a common New Year. It was Tsagan Saar in February. So after the change, this is only in our during our history is changed our New Year. And now Zul is only first of the light, because of Zul is light, yeah.
Okay. Okay, but so back to my question: when did you start celebrating your birthday then?
When I was student, I was first. Yeah, I was first year student, and in our student group was 3 girls. They were born his birthday in February also, and I have my first birthday party, together with these 2 girls. And after, but our parents never remember this our birthdays. Yeah? We only self for our friends our birthdays.
Nice. I didn't. That's shock content for me. Nice. Do you like celebrating your birthday now?
Not so special, No. Sometimes I forgot that I have birthday, but.
What is your favorite celebration in the year?
Usually we go with our family to the restaurant, and that's all. And I get the gifts from my family members, not more. When I was student, when I was young, maybe sometimes we make party, but also not always, only sometimes.
Okay. So do you prefer New Year or Tsagan Saar? It's your favorite. What is your favorite celebration?
Now, after my more than 20 years in Germany, of course, the Christmas is my my loving holiday.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, I want to ask you one more question, and then we're gonna wrap up, because we probably should do another episode, maybe in Russian, I can't speak proper Kalmyk, so probably in Russian. One last question about Kalmyk people again. What Mongolian tribes or other ethnicities which exist nowadays are the closest to us, like our brothers and sisters? It can be in Russia or outside Russia.
I told a little bit about a great history of Oirats Mongols, Oirats. But in modern time, unfortunately, the Oirats have no own statehood, For example, Oirats live in West Mongol, in modern Mongol. These three regions of Aymak, 3 Aymaks from Mongolia. This is West Mongols, Oirats. And then Oirats living in the Xinjiang, in China. And they live in Inner Mongolia.
Chinese province, which is
Mongolian, And total, I think we are near 2 million people. Because of 2
million. Oh, I thought it's like
more of million. I think maybe 2, because of it.
It's difficult to count.
When I was in Beijing, I could speak with Inner Mongol Oirats and Xinjiang Mongols Oirats. Yes, of course.
Really?
And Xinjiang Mongols, visited me in Berlin. With Xinjiang Mongols, I can speak really good, because of the same language. With Inner Mongol, they is a little bit difficult, but nevertheless we understand each other.
Nice. So Inner Mongols, were they stayed there since Chingis Khan Empire, right?
They stayed in the same place.
How many there in Mongolia? I didn't know that there are.
I guess there is millions. I guess maybe
Million?
Yes.
I need to do some reading. I need to read. Okay.
So it was very nice if our Kalmyk Republic get own statehood, and will named Oirat Mongol Republic or Oirat Republic
Oirat
because of
Mongol.
Kalmyk is of course it is for us is very convenient to speak Kalmyk, but nevertheless it's not so nice. It is time to change our name and get our own ethnic.
What do you mean very nice? You mean to say Kalmyk instead of Oirat, or do you mean
Yeah, I
something
guess
different? Language.
Oirat muss sein, Oirats. This is our ethnic name, yeah.
Okay.
But you can combine with Oirat Kalmyks or the Oirat Mongols. This more correct is Oirat Mongols because we are Mongol.
Mongol.
Our language is Mongol. We are Mongols, but we are Oirat Mongols. But in Republic, a lot of people don't like to be Oirat Mongol. They agree to be, for example, Oirat Kalmyks. But this is sometimes missing. Oirat is Mongol word and Kalmyk is Turkic word. Beta is Oirat Mongol. Oirat Mongols. Oirat Mongols.
Oirat Mongols. I think only now I learned that it has negative connotation, negative understanding, the word Kalmyk. I think people just don't know generally that it has, well, I guess they know, but maybe they don't know deeply, on a deeper level, that Kalmyk is like not the way we called ourselves back then, that we were called like this, you know, like I don't think many people know that because Kalmyk is just like something so native to us, like I would still think until the rest of my life I would call myself Kalmyk. Just because the way I grew up, you know, like my dad used to say to me, like, you're Kalmyk, be proud of it. Like, I think a lot of people are similar, but there are people like you who maybe know history more and know understanding, they have better understanding of culture, the language, the meaning of the words, and they have different thinking. Like, I don't think there's right or wrong. Obviously, you might think that Kalmyk is wrong, and that's your perspective, right? But that's how I understand it. And this is like, I think all my friends, they go travel anywhere and they would always introduce themselves as Kalmyk. It's hard to change, but it's possible. It's hard to change.
It's not so hard. For example, before we had Soviet Union and then we changed to Russia.
Oh, right, Russia.
And it was not so hard. It's the same, yeah. It is maybe takes a little bit time, but not more. Now I hear more people name sich Oirat. Everywhere schreibt, I'm Oirat, I'm Oirat.
I've started saying this as well, because, you know, I used to only explain to people who are Kalmyk people, but now, because I was reading and like talking to Kalmyk people, and I understood that Oirat is more correct meaning, and now sometimes I used to say Mongolian, but now I just say I'm Oirat, and then I explain that it's Western Mongol and things like this. At least like I do more explanation now, but Kalmyk, Oirat. I don't think that's something to think about it. I think I need to read more. Okay, we're going to finish now, and definitely I feel that we should do another episode with Maria so we can dive deeper in the history of Kalmyk people, our culture, language, and religion. So stay tuned, everyone, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Sahib Jamal, hem Kerif Abdullah, erleşerler derize ardında. Sahib Jamal tizden gider ufağa, 6 yıl bar eli inqilabqa. Abdülgaziz hem Xadene Rabiğa, uçraştılar rahmet teatrga. Etisi kızını kabul eder Abdülgaziz uqay. Ist fakta